It sucks. It can suck in the moment to choose yourself and to choose growth, because this is something that happens a lot when you choose to heal and when you choose growth and yourself over anything else. But unfortunately, I'm not immune to it. When I'm going through it like I am right now, I feel so deeply, desperately alone, and I feel like I'm the only person that's going through this, and all the voices start. And what I'm referring to is the bitterness that you can feel in growth.
You know what? It's starting to seem like these women think that their tears are sort of like monetizable almost. I think a lot of them believe that once they start crying, they need to record themselves, because it's like they can't let these tears go to waste. They need to use them somehow. They see these tears as some sort of asset, some sort of commodity. So a lot of times when they cry, they want to record for some reason. Like, oh, I'm about to cry. Quick, pull out the camera and start recording. And then they, go on this diatribe about what? Healing, trauma, but just a bunch of bullshit, ultimately. A bunch of womanese. And so it's like they intrinsically know that when they cry, they can, get their way. They can move people emotionally. It's a big tool they have, and they know it.
Welcome back, family. I honestly don't even know where to start with this 32-year-old woman who already has 2 divorces under her belt. I mean,
Wow.
The things that will come out of this woman's mouth will absolutely blow your mind. Let's first hear why her marriages didn't work and everything that is wrong with her from her own mouth.
Feeling like I was bad or broken or wondering what is wrong with me are the earliest self-talk memories that I have. And it's only in the last couple of years that I've realized
Join the club.
that may not be normal. I have vivid memories of writing in my journal everything that was wrong with me. My childhood was full of trauma, drama, abuse, just general terribleness, combined with the fact that now I know that I had ADHD, and I didn't find that out until I was 30.
Damn, she really hit you with drama, trauma, and abuse.
So I spent years masking and trying to show up to hide all the shame, blame, and guilt that I felt. I would just work harder in front of people and then just tear myself down harder when people weren't looking. And I thought I was like holding all the pieces together until my life imploded, and I was handed my second set of divorce papers when I had a very small child. So now I'm a single toddler mom with 2 divorces under her belt, self-tears, thinking like, what do I do now? Because everything that I had tried, all the coping mechanisms, trying to find the right one, going to therapy, being a yoga teacher, doing Reiki, like none of that stuff kept the train from running into the wall. Until I found the emotion code, and that was the missing link that put everything together for me. A way to work with energy and unlock trauma in the body. Because I didn't realize that trying to run from my emotional baggage wasn't going to work, and that even though I tried to ignore it, it was still going to sabotage me, and boy, did it ever. But I thought that I had dealt with all my stuff or knew about all my stuff, and I didn't, because the body remembers so much more than we remember. So using the emotion code allowed me to identify the parts of me and the trauma that was still locked inside my body that was causing me to self-sabotage and have all these yucky feelings and behaviors. And now by working on it and releasing it, I'm finally able to step into that life that I really want and feel safe in my body and feel secure in my life without just waiting for the other shoe to drop or feeling like I'm just a terrible human being.
This woman is lying about her past trauma to get sympathy like most of them do. She didn't have any significant childhood trauma in her life, and I will prove it to you in this next clip. Pay attention to how she is going to describe her upbringing.
Tell me your life story in 1 sentence. Go.
No one was more surprised than I when the good girl raised at the height of purity culture ends up being a twice divorced single mom by age 32.
Yes, she is your typical rebellious girl that comes from a good family. What she calls trauma is actually the family rules to follow. The only reason she is painting herself as the victim is to convince other women to follow her because she wants to be a life coach.
This sounds like you. I'd love to
Yep.
help. I'm an emotion code practitioner, and I help women release trauma from their
Certified emotion code practitioner. What the hell, dude? It makes no sense. What does that mean? This stuff. Oh my God. There's nothing concrete about anything this woman is saying. She's using a bunch of words that have no meaning. It's a very common thing they do, using these words. It's like, fuck, what are you talking about? There's nothing there. It's empty. It's empty communication. Means nothing. There's no logic to it. I don't even think there's thought behind it. This woman wants to be a life coach, but she's overweight. That should be the number one thing. That's the number one thing. If you can't even control your weight, you can't coach people in life. Your health, your physical health. The physical health is the one thing when it comes to, we talk about this health, mental health, physical health. At least with physical health, it's tangible. You can see it. And I can see you're not healthy in that area. Like, yeah, maybe you feel so shitty because your body is overweight. The vehicle you are in to experience life isn't functioning correctly because you're feeding it too much.
bodies. All starts with a free consult call that you can schedule at the link in my bio.
I mean, how can you be a life coach when you are struggling to get out of bed by yourself? I am pretty sure that her laziness is one of the main reasons both her marriages didn't work out. Now, before the sweet tears, we will watch one more clip that will demonstrate to you how she will try to justify her jealousy and past mistakes during her marriage, instead of taking full responsibility of her actions by using her newly discovered book, The Emotion Code. I apologize in advance for all the nonsense that will come out of this woman's mouth, but it is important for you to listen to it, because that is the type of you are going to hear when you agreed to go with your woman to therapy. I mean, the knowledge is good, but the way these women twist this knowledge to fit their narrative is amazing. Let's watch.
I just left Mass with my ex-husband and my baby, and I feel super triggered. My name's Jessie. I'm a divorced single mom and emotion code practitioner. Spent the last 18 months healing my emotional trauma. Still have moments like this.
Oh, dude.
Typically, I like to come on here very polished with something really thought-provoking and educational to tell you, but today, I'm just going to keep it real. As I was driving to Target, I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do with these thoughts and feelings? Because I know that the yucky stuff has been activated.
I guess you got to tell everybody about them.
Seeing my ex today. So I had two choices. I could either sit in those feelings of inadequacy and grief and loss and low self-worth, or I could remind myself that I am human, I'm going to have emotions, and I can acknowledge those emotions and pass them through my body.
Or you
And
could
for the
go
ones
to the
that
gym.
I'm just not sure of, like, what is this feeling? It's a yucky feeling, but I just don't know what it is. So I can use the emotion code to help me figure out, like, what is this feeling I'm feeling? So let's do that right now. So I'm going to use muscle testing to ask my body, what is this yucky feeling that's sitting inside my heart right now? Is it in column A? No. Is it B? Yes. Is it even? No. Is it an odd row? Yes. Is it B1? No. B3, B31, B32, B33. Let's go see what B33 is. Okay, so looking at the chart, we see that it's bringing up grief. Today
Is
I'm
this witchcraft?
triggered, and grief is what my body is experiencing right now. I'm going to use the Reiki and emotion code release to swipe over the governing meridian.
Yeah, it's a great mystery why she's been divorced twice, huh? You're crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing, woman? Don't you see yourself? Do you not see yourself? Do you not watch these videos before you post them? You know what's really crazy about all this, actually, though, is women would look at her and say, wow, she is really, really emotionally intelligent.
I can feel a little bit emotional as that left, but I did feel like I could breathe a little bit better. And so that tells me that that energy is moving. And
I'll tell you how you can breathe a little bit better. Lose some weight.
you just have to acknowledge that emotion and let it pass through you to fully process it. During trauma, you don't get to fully process it. And
That is an objective fact, all right? Don't come after me, YouTube. That's an objective fact about human beings that are overweight. Once they lose that excess fat, it will be easier for the body to function. And breathing would be one of those functions.
stopped and it gets stuck in the body. So now that I have an idea of what emotionally is going on, I'm going to work on my thoughts. So I could sit there and be like, wow, Jesse, you really effed up. Like, look at the life that you could have had. Or
Don't do
I
that.
can remember that there's a reason that relationship did not work out. And I'm going to leverage the mistakes in my past to optimize the future that I want. And I'm going to knock this day out of the park. And I'm going to go do something that feels good. And right now, that's to walk around Target with a coffee.
Enough of this nonsense. Now it's time for some more regrets and sweet tears of loneliness.
Today's video is going to be much different than my usual stuff for you. Typically, I like to teach from
Yo, all of that just for her to eventually say at the end, I'm going to go walk through Target with a coffee. That's ultimately what her emotional code is. That is how she's feeling happier. It's not through this meridian, whatever the fuck. It's because she's thinking about going to Target with some coffee. Couldn't you just tell these women that that's your secret code? Get some coffee and go to Target and you'll feel better.
scars and not my open, festering wounds. But this one's a little different because this is something that happens a lot when you choose to heal and when you choose growth and yourself over anything else. And I know that my clients go through this. I see them go through this, and it felt really important for you.
My clients, guys, so it sounds like she has women signing up for this stuff. It sounds like she has clients. I mean, she might be lying, though. She might just be saying that so other people will think, kind of like I just did, that she's actually getting clients. Social proof. People are like, oh, okay. No, you do have clients. All right, well, yeah, maybe I'll check you out. Maybe, what's your rate? Let's hear about it. If other people are doing it, then maybe I will too. But I have a hard time believing any woman would hear this woman speak and would buy into it. But you know what? Yeah, of course they would. Of course women would hear this woman and think, you know what? I'm going through that as well. I like what she's saying. This meridian thing. This all makes a lot of sense to me. Let's hear about it. What are your rates?
Know that I go through it too. And that this is why I refuse to let you back down. I refuse to buy your excuses and your stories because I live it too. I'm just a little bit further down the path. And I'm just up here saying, like, come on, keep going. But unfortunately, I'm not immune to it.
Yeah, you're a really stable life coach. Is this what life coaches do? I thought life coaches wouldn't do this. I thought they would have their shit together more. They are the example to follow. They're leading. They're saying, hey, I figured it out. Follow me. I got the answers. Look at me. Look how great I'm doing. Look how composed I am. Look how emotionally intelligent I am. Look how stable I am. Look how happy I am. But you're clearly not. You're clearly unstable. Why would anybody want to follow this? So is this what they're buying into? Eventually they're just going to be this?
What I'm referring to is the bitterness that you can feel in growth. Because there's often a lot of grief, a lot of letting go, and a lot of opportunities for you to choose what you know you need to choose. But now that you're on the path of healing, you are choosing to listen to that voice instead of just ignoring it or rebelling against it. And I have spent the better part of my life rebelling against it and choosing to deny myself in the hopes of feeling worthy and feeling love and feeling safe. And it always backfires on you.
So I was just thinking about how in the beginning of the video, she said she was raised in a time where purity was was really important, and sounds like her family was probably religious maybe, and they were possibly kind of strict on her, and that is what she's talking about. When she talks about her trauma and abuse, she's talking about strict parents that held her to a high standard, probably told her don't drink, don't smoke, don't be a stripper, don't go out there sleeping around with a bunch of boys, work hard in school, you know, the typical things that strict parents, probably religious parents, would do. I guarantee that is the abuse she's talking. Maybe she got spanked a couple times, but like that is probably the abuse she's talking. The abuse, the trauma she's talking about.
So when you're in that time, and maybe you're in it right now, I just wanted to make this so that you know you're not alone, because when I'm going through it like I am right now, I feel so deeply, desperately alone, and I feel like I'm the only person that's going through this, and all the voices start, and I wish that I would scroll across a video like this where it just says, it sucks. It can suck in the moment to choose yourself and to choose growth. But if you're doing it for a reason, and now is not the time to back down from it, even though it feels really tempting to just say, fine, this is enough. Like, look at all the work I've done. I'm good here. Because that's really what I want to do in this moment, is I just want to say, nope, enough is enough. Like, we're good here. Like, look at all that I've done. This should be enough. But deep down, you and I both know that it's not. So if you're in a place of feeling bitter or angry or frustrated that you have to do so much work to heal and to grow, and it just feels like you keep getting knocked down, no matter how much you try, it just keeps getting harder and you're just sick of it, I'm not going to tell you to be strong. I'm not going to tell you that there's an amazing, transformed, amazing version of you on the other side of this, because honestly, I don't want to hear that right now, so you probably don't either. So just for today, all I'm going to say is, I see you.
Most women don't really believe that they were at fault at any point in their lives. They always believe that they are the victim. That is why they always go full circle to crying in their emotions, thinking that they are making any progress. The first step of growth is to recognize your mistakes and flaws.
Yeah, I don't know. When I hear this bullshit about healing, it's like talking about on your path to healing. When you're on your path to healing, you're going to go through these things. But like, what the hell does this mean, healing? You see, when you actually look at the word and what that means, I don't know, maybe like you break an elbow and it's slowly healing. It's going back to its original state. It's healing. It's being fixed. You would use these things in a medical sense, but now they are using them in a very therapeutic, spiritual, non-tangible sense. So it doesn't mean anything. Healing. Like how do you do this? To me, if I wanted, grant them, let's get into the healing thing apart from like actual physical injuries. Well, I mean, I guess I would take it back to physicality. You need to get thinner. You need to lose weight. You need to get healthier in that way. That would then be healing because you're getting healthier. But you're still overweight. Like anything that happens to you mentally, maybe through working out, you can start to feel better. Maybe meditation, something like that. But like meditation is simply just quieting the mind. And that in itself would be like healing it. But they think this is some sort of like process that they go through in like therapy. But it's like when these people go to therapy, they continue to show up. The method of the goal of therapy should be to get to a point to where the client no longer needs therapy. It's done, healed, all done. There should be a timeline. that they should establish. But it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like there's an end goal there. It doesn't really, there is ultimately no healing. It's just an exchange of money. Pay me for my time so you can sit down and talk to me and vent. You're paying to vent, basically. And yeah, there's some woo-woo practice, and methods. But ultimately, if you want to talk about healing, it ultimately would just come down to being physically healthier and improving how you speak to yourself. That's really like would be it, right? It's like, okay, maybe I was literally touched as a young child by an adult. Maybe that literally happened. That is literally trauma. That's actual trauma. That's actual abuse. How would one go about healing that? It can't be healed. It's never going to go away. It will always be a truth that you went through that. So what can you do? Well, you just, how do you think about it? How do you talk to yourself? Are you coping with eating? Are you physically active? That will never go away. You can never fully heal that in a way. It just is. And how you cope with it, I guess, would be the healing they're talking about. But it's not actually going to really ever be healed. You just kind of get over it. You just kind of deal with it. That's life. It doesn't have to all be super perfect. And this is when you start to get real sensitive and real soft. Okay, what happens when the next harsh thing happens in your life? Are you going to have to now go through another 5 years of healing? I got news for you. It never really ends, right? Life is hard. You're going to continue to run into things that might damage you a little bit. Life is hard. And you're going to make yourself really, really soft and sensitive. If you have to go to your dungeon and heal away what just happened every time. I don't know. It's just a really quick way to make yourself soft. Look, woman, get a husband. Get a husband. Just start a family again. Get some more kids. I don't know. But you being single obviously is not good. A lot of these women need families. They need children. They need families. They need a husband. They need to take back their femininity. They need to go back to being women. They need to stop trying to compete with men. They need to stop trying to be men. And they'll probably start to feel happier. Ever since women got the right to vote, it kind of seems like their happiness has been on the decline. Ever since feminism came into play, their happiness just heavy declining. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got there. This healing stuff gets really old. And my main problem with it, to reiterate again, is that it's not tangible. It's not really tangible. You can't do it. It's really just about how you would talk to yourself, I guess. How you cope. How you deal with the things you go through. And what I've said before is, what happens is a lot of people start feeling sorry for themselves, and that's the problem. They start adopting a victim mentality. Woe is me. Oh, I had all this trauma when I was younger. God, my life sucks. It's so much worse than everyone else. Oh, start moping around. That starts to snowball. Momentum, it compounds worse and worse. Start to identify with your trauma. You start to need safe spaces. You start getting triggered by words. You start becoming more and more sensitive. Smaller and smaller things start affecting your state. You can't buy into this shit. You really can't. You cannot feel like a victim. Nobody has a perfect life. But I kind of think the moment you start looking at yourself as if you really are damaged, it's not a good mindset. You start looking at yourself as like literally traumatized. That's not a good way to approach it. Because that's just negative self-talk. That is a very tangible thing. How do you speak to yourself? How do you talk about yourself? You know. And if you're someone out there who talks negatively about yourself, you need to stop. Stop doing that. And that's really it. Stop feeling bad for yourself.